Today in this video we are going to see a design thinking based advantages of using generic. Why generic programming is that much important and how it can be used in Java. So my students will be explaining the advantages of generic and how generic can be used in Java in step-by-step manner based on DT.
I am going to explain about the empathize. I understand the user program script. A programmer writes a method to store integer data. Later, the same logic is needed for string, double, etc. Result: code duplication or unsafe object casting. Analog: a telecom operator offers roaming only for local citizen integer when tourist, single, double, or etc. arrive. They are not supported for phase roaming issues. Programmers needs. I want to a way to write one method or class or for that any data type safe and efficiently.
About the second part of design thinking, define a challenge statement. How might we create a time-safe, reusable logic in Java that allows code to roam freely across different data types? Problem definition. Traditional Java before generics allowed object-based coding, but it was prone to class exception. The need for roaming logic that does not compromise type safety or code clarity.
Now I am going to explain the third part of the design thinking, ideate. Possible approaches. Use object for generality, not type use. Overloads methods for each type. Code duplications. Use generics. One solution for all types with competent type checking. Innovations. Introduce generic class or methods that act like a universal roaming planes. Voids for all data types, integer, double, string, etc.
So let me talk about the disadvantages of using generic classes in Java. So the first one is type eraser. Generic type information is removed at runtime, so you cannot use instant of to create generic arrays. And also we cannot use primitives directly. Generics works only with the reference types, not the primitive types like int, double, use of wrapper classes like integer and double. And it also has a complex syntax. For beginners, the angle brackets and multiple type parameters can make the code harder to read, and for it also gives us limited reflection support. That is, generics are not fully supported to Java reflection API, which limits dynamic analysis of generic types.
If the telecom designer, if you are calling to a normal local calls previously through our landline, will be directly we will be dialing the number and will be getting the call. In case of STD or ISD, we will be using the code, extra code in order to get the line. In similar way, in generic programming, the same particular code can be used, and it can be by using the same code, different type of data types can be processed, which is being explained in the further DT steps. In prototype, what we will be doing is that we will be just developing the code using the generic in order to satisfy the user's need. The testing phase will be explained by Divya.
Let me validate about the generic class for testing cases. So does it work with multiple types? Yes, generic allows a class or method to handle different data types like integer, string, or even custom objects all within the same code structure. So can we avoid typecasting? Absolutely. Generic classes no longer need to be manually casting objects, which makes our code safe and efficient. So is it a compile time safety enforced? Yes, generics ensure that it mismatches the codes during the application, reducing runtime errors in it.
So now you would have understood what is meant by generic programming, right? Where it can be used. Could anyone explain the impact of using generic programming in Java?
About the impact of generic classes in Java. So it gives us cleaner code. The same class works with any type, so there's least cluster and no casting, less duplication. That is, there is no need to write separate classes or methods for each data type, and there will be fewer runtime errors. Because of runtime checks, most bugs are caught earlier than normal cases. It is more scalable architecture. As projects grow, generics might be code-based, easier to maintain, and it can be easily achieved.